All right, folks, we are live. Finally, running a couple of minutes late, but good things come to those who wait. This is critique number 230, photo critique 230. Picture it your way. So, this is an open photo critique. Our members could submit whatever images they felt like were cool, in their own genre or outside of their genre. Troy, this was your choice of topic. What do you think? What do you think of the submissions?
We got some great submissions. We always joke that the open topic always gets us the most submissions of all, and we get the most variety. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun, and we got a nice crop. Just not too many, not too little to get into the hour and to give some feedback on. Before we
Yep.
dive into this, do you have your pick, or not your pick, but your topic for the next critique already picked out and oh, you
It's on
got
the other side.
it.
It's on the other side of this paper.
Oh, look at that. All
It's right
right.
there. It's like ah.
Yeah. Even if you held it up, we wouldn't be able to see it because it's blown out.
I know it's all like
Completely blown out. All right. Well, cool. That's great. I say we just dive in because this is
yeah.
this the is this not is this the last critique of the year? It's not, right? Or is it? We might
Yeah.
have one more.
Ooh.
We're the
Ooh.
18th now. No. This is the
Yeah.
last one of the year. This is the
Yeah.
last critique of 2023 because the next
Yeah.
one will
And then
be on the first. Well, maybe. We'll figure that out. you know, maybe a little
we're not
tired.
sure.
They're like, "Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah, Happy New Year." Yeah, but we'll figure that out. Well, cool. All right. So this one is the last one of 2023. Have it your way. How appropriate. So let's dive in. I hope your critique has something to do with new beginnings and freshness and new starts and all
No.
that. You might have to remind me.
No.
No.
I didn't. I went completely just what I thought. I didn't
Yeah.
consider the
Yeah, me either.
years. So.
What's another year? What's another time around the
Yeah.
sun? Who cares? All right, let's dive in. I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and switch us over to the community here inside of TWiP Pro in our photo critiques area. This is 230. Picture it your way. And first up is Karen Sweeney, Frosty Avenue, shot on a D50 with a kit lens, and she edited it in Affinity Photo.
Yeah. So
Look at that.
nice. Man, Karen, your stuff is just getting so much better. I just love seeing what you're posting. So, kudos to that. I love this photo, by the way. I was really hoping to see the bridge again, even though it's on my desktop right here. I have it, just I look at it every day. Um,
Mhm.
but this is one of those kind of shots that I just love, this open space, the leading lines, the white doors at the end, or the windows, whatever those are. Those really draw me in. This is one of those kind of locations I would love to see at different times of the year. I think that there's like a project here, right? Like, you could really shoot here a lot, but you handled this perfectly well. I think that the tonality and the color grading and the highlight control is just wonderful. So I really don't have any critiques for this other than thank you, and I think it's awesome.
Likewise, yeah, I was thinking the same thing about what an interesting time lapse this would make, right? If it's
All right.
over the same location over the span of the year, if you're able to lock the camera down somehow, or at least position it in exactly the same spot. These birches, see what they do over the span of 365 days. Of this shot, the main thing that attracts me to this shot, I think probably like many others, including yourself, Troy, is just the symmetry, like the balance and the symmetry, and it's got the contrast, and then it's all processed correctly. You could have processed this any number of ways, but the way Karen chose to process this, I think it looks really great. And we've got our subject in there in the mystery of the door, and how big is that house actually, and who's in there, and why is that door right there, and is that a garden or a maze? So it brings us into the shot. I like it. If you're doing anything differently here, if you were standing at this spot at this time, Troy, what might you do?
I would probably have moved a little closer to crop out the tree on the left, and I would have shot from a lower angle.
Mm.
So I get more of a sense of depth, and I want to see the path more in the foreground as opposed to this is sort of like human eye view. So I always try to pick a perspective that is different, even if it's just a little bit different. But I would probably shoot lower.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good call. And I like the post-processing border treatment on this as well, because it feels like you're peering through a portal into this world a little bit, even subtly. I like it.
Yeah.
It adds depth. Definitely adds a lot of depth. It makes it feel more 3D. I don't know why, but it does. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks really good. Really good.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, Karen. Very cool. All right, who's next on our list? Peter Levshin. No caption. Let's take a look. All right. All right, I'm gonna go first on this one. So again, I love the symmetry of this shot. It's really cool. I love the location. It pulls me into it. It makes me think a lot about what's going on, and I want to know, everything everybody wants to know. That's what I want to know about this shot. But if you're going for symmetry, I would have leaned into the symmetry a little more and centered that staircase maybe in the middle, so it becomes more of a symmetrical element. Or not. If you wanted asymmetry, then move off and make it an asymmetrical element. But it feels like it's straddling the line unsuccessfully in between of those. But when you could just kind of, rotate a little bit, move it over. And this alien hanging out here, I don't know what that alien is. Just hanging out, photobombing the frame. So I might get rid of this thing out of there, and maybe bring her out a little bit, because I feel like she's blending in a little bit too much to the steps. So I might make her pop out, just not so much as obvious, but just a little bit of lightly salted pop on her, make her pop out of there. And because the background is already flat, right? I love the flatness of the background. So pop her out a little bit, and the background will do the rest of the work for you and kill this alien up here for sure. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you've made some great points. Now, I know that this was shot in infrared, and the problem with this is, because there's been a little bit of chatter of infrared in the community, is that this is probably shot in shadow light, so there's not a lot of contrast happening, and infrared will kind of go muddy. And so, if
Mm.
you have an image like that, you do have to do what you said, like you have to bring out some pop to it, bring out your highlights, especially to create some more separation in there. So it definitely needs some of that attention. And I would lean into, like you said, I would crop it really tight to the bottom edges of those stairs, and I would rotate it counterclockwise slightly so that the stairs were, parallel to the frame,
Mm-hmm.
or go completely heavy the other way and give it more of a sort of like a 7-degree tilt, like rotate it clockwise, crop in tight, and give it a sense of like disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
disjointed sense of
Yeah.
something. But there's a lot going on the left hand side of this frame that we don't need, including the alien that's up there. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
great image though. I love she's like in step, so it feels like she didn't just stop and pose for you. Like there's motion happening in there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also really nice. I really enjoy that factor of this.
How do you feel about the border on this shot? I know we talk about that a lot, but I'm looking at that border, and I don't know if it's me, but I don't feel like it is it equidistant on the top and bottom, left and right. I feel like the sides are thicker than the top and bottom, but are the top and bottom even? That's the first question. And then the second question is, because we have a low contrast image here, having a gray border on a black and white low contrast image, is that good, or should the border just be straight black to make it pop out and make your eyes kind of understand where true black is versus what the artist is showing in the photo?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and good catch. Like, yes, the borders are different thicknesses, which I don't really have a problem with, but the fact that they're gray adds to the muddiness of the overall image. If the
Yeah.
background was black, or even pure white, right? Like
Yep.
that
Yep.
contrast is what's going to make it pop. So yeah, I don't like the. I've never been a fan of doing like a middle gray unless you're really leaning into it, like one of Phil's images. He's got a lot
Hmm.
of that sort of soft tones. Yeah, for this, it definitely could use a black background.
Yeah. Yeah. I think black would have made it pop with those changes we discussed, like right, changing the crop so that it's even and yeah, I don't know what you do about this stuff on the left other than getting rid of this alien thing here. I don't know what you would do over here except lean into it, right, and make it feel like you
Yeah.
intentionally wanted all that stuff there. But yeah, cool
And
shot.
this is one of those kind of images, and maybe this is where critiques can go for people, is that you can't go back and reshoot this if this is like a travel photo like it is for Peter. And obviously, unless you lean heavy into AI, you can't really remove things. So it's that idea that, oh, when I'm there, I want to do my best to make sure that I frame it so that I have everything done correctly, because when I get back I can't do it. So
Right, right. Yeah, but cool shot. Do you know where this was? Where did you shoot this?
I don't know where he shot it. I know kind of like the series of images that lead up to this, but I don't remember where he was. Yeah, he travels all over the world. This could have been like
Yeah,
Papua New Guinea, could have been India, could have been I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Peter
Me
has to
either.
tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Peter, let us know where this was photographed. Very cool shot though. All right. Did he say in here? No, no, he didn't say. Oh, let's see. Nope. All right, Irvin Penn is up. Irvin B. Penn says, "What lies beneath? I'll admit it. I've not been around for a while, but I'm not gone as my photo expresses. There's been a lot going on under the surface this past year, even some time for introspective photography." Yeah, man. Preach it. I like this. Yeah, this is cool. This is one of like I was looking at this. And I don't know if it was a shot that we critiqued many moons ago, or it was something that I shot or that I'm just thinking of. But there was a shot like this, but inverted, just to add that interest to it. So it just takes another second or two for your brain to understand what's going on, but makes it more interesting when it's inverted. Here, uninverted, I think it's fine just like this as well. I mean, but the inverted makes it weird and more abstract. Going like this, it still draws you in and makes you wonder what's going on, but it's still tight. I'd like to see more of the trees in the top, I think, or less. I don't know. I'm curious what you think.
Um, Man, this is a tough image, because I know I've shot many of these images. I struggle with shots like this because I don't want to say that they're disinteresting, but there's not like a big hook, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that they're dis. Oh, that was weird. I could hear myself for a second.
Oh,
So I want. What's challenging for me is like, where's my subject? Where's the hook? Where's my eye supposed to look? Like, it seems like the shadows and the highlights in the water are drawing as much attention as are the trees. And so I can imagine how beautiful it looked when you stood there, but I'm not getting that sense in this photograph. So, you know, bring up the contrast a little bit, lean more into an abstract graphic type image.
mm-hmm.
Bring up the highlights of the moss on the trees, things like that, and probably crop some of that bottom off. I feel like there's
Yeah.
just it's soft and there's just not a lot going on down there. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, I agree because it goes from highly detailed and slowly into muddiness or not so high of a detail down here,
Right.
and you could probably stop. I'm guessing maybe around here, right in that area to get rid, which would give you kind of close to a square crop or a 3x2 at best.
Right. And this is one of those images that I always remind myself is like, when I stand here and I look at this and I can smell the water or, whatever, feel the air temperature and stuff, it's also really hard to convey that in a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine how beautiful it was to stand there, but I'm having a hard time connecting with that. So I think lean more into the abstract.
Yeah. Yeah, or get get up close and get simple and do some detail work, right? What does the
Hmm.
base of one of these things look like? What's living in those bases, especially like right at the water line, and it might just since you're there already, why not get in a little close and see what you get? This
Right.
might be interesting too from a top-down perspective with a drone, right? Hovering and looking straight down on these trees. If you can get a shot where the composition works, it might be interesting.
Yeah, and these trees actually look really amazing with really long exposures. If you can do a long exposure, because there's usually needles and debris and things in the water that, as they do the long exposure, they create these really wonderful swirls, and it winds in and out of the trees and can almost look like a fog.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're really cool because they're kind of, sort of like they're worldly too. So
Yeah. Like a shot like this, would you have, if possible, would you have considered doing a long exposure on this to smooth out that water even more, just make it
yep,
like a glass surface?
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And also this stuff looks great in infrared,
Mm.
because if
Mm.
there's any light coming in there at all, and you're on the moss side of the trees, the moss themselves will light up even more. So
Mm. Very cool. Infrared. Who knew? It's not a fad.
it's a thing.
It's a thing. All right. Nora's Anonymous is up next. Nora says, fresh salmon in the rain. Look at that. Sushi. And that's raining. Is that rain? Is she shooting? Is she
Yeah,
shooting through glass? Is that what that is? What am I seeing there?
that's rain. That's
Is that?
your
Are you
all.
sure?
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like dirty glass or something. But yeah, maybe it's rain. Interesting.
Yeah, it took me a second to kind of look at it and recognize that it was rain, and then I read her title and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because at first I thought it was really grainy, but then I
Yeah.
thought, why is it not grainy on the bear? It's like, okay, something's going on, but it's Nora's, so you know.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know. It feels like it looks like it's kind of on one plane. I don't know.
Yeah, probably shot with a really long lens. You get a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
compression,
Mm.
so I think it's going to look like that. The close rain and the far rain are going to like compress, and you're just going to feel like one layer of noise.
But that said, because we're obsessing and trying to figure out what made that rain look like that, we've been completely ignoring the bear here, right? And what the bear's doing, which we're just viewers, right? We're looking at it and you get distracted by those things. You're like, "Oh, what's going on there?" And you forget all about this fantastic bear chomping on a salmon. So, distracting element, right? Whether intentional or not, distracting. What would you do? I'm guessing because you were holding up prop fingers. I missed it.
Yeah,
He was
I was
doing his thing, doing all that. I'm guessing you would crop it. You'd crop it a bit, and yeah, get in a little bit closer to the bear, lose some foreground, lose some background, and get more detail on
yeah.
Smokey the Bear there.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a wonderful image, and the mood and the tone and the environment and timing is really really good, and I really love
Mm-hmm.
that, and I can appreciate the square crop with the sense that I'm going to use that vertical space for something later, maybe for
Mm-hmm.
text or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for a story of the bear, I would certainly crop off maybe half of the top, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
a tiny bit of the right side, so that we get that bear a little bit off to what would be the right third. And then I would flip it horizontally and have the bear looking to the right instead of looking to the left, and see how that feels for you as the artist. For me as the viewer, I think it would be great because it would feel to me like he's like looking towards the rest of his day, right? Like looking
Mm-hmm.
forward. I feel this is like an evening shot looking to the past.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
but other than that, I mean, the bear's sharp, great timing, wonderful image, great exposure, good color, maybe black and white.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, but definitely I want to see more of the bear because I'm losing what the bear is doing in there. I know because of the caption, but I want to, yeah, I want to see more of what he's up to. I want to see those nails or claws. I want to see the salmon being consumed. I want to see that the hairs on the bear and all that detail. I feel like I'm losing that detail a little in exchange for all this, up here, and all this
Right.
which don't really lend themselves to what's really happening in the shot. I don't care about any of this stuff at all. I care about what he or she is up to down here. So, yeah, use
And
those pixels.
a really good exercise to do is take an image like this, bring it into your browser or your editor, zoom in just on your subject, and then slowly zoom out. And as you zoom out, pay attention to what you like about the frame, and just be like, at some point you're gonna be like, oh, that looks really great. And you may still have another 20-30% to zoom out, and that tells you like, oh, I don't need the rest of the pixels, you know?
Right. Right.
So
No, absolutely. Very cool. I see what she's trying to do, though. I mean, she wanted to show the situation and the surroundings and the bear and its environment kind of doing something natural. I caught a salmon and I'm going to eat it, and so I get
mhm.
the holistic nature of the scene. But as a selfish consumer of visual imagery, I want more data of what's going on in the scene.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
yep. And I apologize, folks. I feel like I'm coming down with something, which is why I sound like this, and I have relatively low energy right now. Just in time for the holidays. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. That's how it works around here. Okay. Next up is Paolo Bossetti. Paolo says it's cold and dark outside, so let me recover a shot from this August. With the years, I'm quickly transitioning from a winter lover to a summer lover. Come to California, man. When a window properly reflects the sun, you don't need no flash nor golden reflectors. You only have to wait. Take a look.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love
Now I know
that.
you were looking at this earlier and you had some thoughts. So why don't you
Yeah.
go first?
Okay, so my thoughts on the shot is I love the shot. I mean, Paolo just I feel like through his work, I feel like if I ever went to these towns that he shoots in, I would not know the town, but I would know that, oh, this is kind of like what Paolo photographs. I feel a level of intimacy with these locations than I had before Paolo started posting these. Looking at the shot, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, great shot. And then my brain got trapped in this little triangular eddy down here, which I know is kind of adding to the fact that the sun is streaming down between these buildings and creating this pathway of light that they're walking in. So I get that. But down here, it's still a little distracting having all these pixels dedicated to just letting you know that there's light coming through there, right? So I would make efforts either when I'm shooting it or in post to mitigate this area over here a little bit. Because of the nature of the composition, it's not like you can just crop that off because you're going to lose the main interest there, and that's your shadows. So I'd still crop it, but maybe lightly. So with that in mind, I want to see if this will show my, yeah. So I'm going to Shift Command 4, change my cursor into these crosshairs. I hope you guys see this. But how
Yeah,
I
we
would
do.
crop this, yeah, I would crop this kind of, you can't really see my crop on the screen, I see that. But I'm cropping from kind of the upper left up here, like this. So we lose that guy on the right there that's walking out of frame. So I would get rid of him and maybe clone out the shadows that he was casting and put our subjects right at the intersection of the upper right rule of thirds right there. So they're walking from the upper right to the lower left and kind of going where their shadows are pointing, which is where they're going, right? So I would crop it like that for this one. Maybe remove some distracting elements. And I say all this with the understanding that Paolo does not edit his photos. So this is me, or he does not, do manipulation and all that stuff on his photos. So this is, if I was to do post on this is what I would do. And then the other thing I saw in here was a completely different shot, and that's just the shadows, or mostly the shadows. So what if you cropped it, Paolo, like from right here as the upper right hand corner, and basically cut off their bodies right
Mhm.
below their shorts, right?
You
So
stole my thing.
so you got that right there, right? So yeah, and then stretch it over. So you got, maybe it's an oblong image or a horizontal image, and you have just legs and the shadows, and then you play with post a little bit to make sure those shadows render nice and crisp. But I think that's a completely different shot out of this. So I don't know. What do you think, Troy?
I got nothing. I got nothing left. You took it all.
You tell me to go first.
I know. No,
Don't
no,
ever get
it's
behind me in a
fantastic.
buffet line, man. Don't ever.
Um, so I love the image as presented. I
Yeah.
really do. I really don't mind the triangle in the lower right hand corner because there's detail there. So, but I can see
Hmm.
your point in that, and I don't disagree with you at all. Um, to dive deeper into this image and sort of like minimize that lower right hand corner, I thought, ooh, we could crop, show like just above the knees, below the hands, right, and then just
Hmm.
show the legs and then the shadows of the people.
Hmm.
That would
Hmm.
be an amazing shot, and you said that already,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
Hey, I
great.
mean,
Yeah, I do love this shot, and Paolo, you nailed it.
yeah,
Great
yeah,
job.
that would be interesting. That'd be interesting. Yeah, those are, and it's all about the shadows, right? Light and shadow. What a good
Yep,
one for the. Didn't we do a critique a while back that was titled Shadows? This one would have been a good one for that one.
probably. Yeah, probably.
Love it. All right, Paolo. Oh, last thing is black and white or color on this. Even with the crop, like even if you crop it, would you keep it color? Go black and white.
I would have a hard time with this one. I would probably play with it and go back and forth because this image doesn't have a lot of color.
Hmm.
It's really sort of like, monochromatic in and of itself. It's like really just warm tones and then the shadows, the browns and stuff, which is coming through. So that's really
Yeah.
wonderful.
Or
Yeah. And by
sepia.
the
Would
way,
you do like a
brown is
sepia
not.
or? Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was getting distracted, but just watched a little video on how brown is not a color.
It's not. What is it?
it's it's dark orange. So don't wait. I won't go off on
That's
that.
so dumb.
I'll
I'm
send I'll
sorry.
send a YouTube
Very few
video for
things do I
everybody.
say are dumb. That is dumb. Speaking as a brown person, that is dumb.
It's dark orange.
I'm dark orange.
Dark
Yeah,
orange.
next time I try to describe a friend, I'm like, yeah, that guy over there is the dark orange guy. Yeah, that one. Yes.
No, I know. I'll send you the video. It's so great.
Because dark orange isn't a color. Like, oh, come on. Yeah, whatever.
No, brown's not a color.
I'm sorry, but dark orange is a color. So,
It is a color.
oh my God. God. Hue and tone, people. Adding white or black to a primary color gets you secondary and tertiary colors. They're all
Right.
colors.
Orange, you add black and it becomes brown, which is technically dark orange.
So it's still a color. So that would have to apply to everything then. That's not really aquamarine because it comes from blue with green added to it.
I
That's
tried
not
not to
real
go down
color.
this rabbit hole. I
No.
tried. I
Oh my
tried to pull
God.
back.
Yeah. You knew you were throwing raw meat in there. You threw a match into a pile of dynamite with that. Oh, I
Oh
love
man.
it. Yeah, sound off. Sound off in the chat if you think brown is a color or is not a color. Oh my God. All right. Moving right along. And thank you, Paulo, for that fantastic shot. Love it. I mean, you could tell, like, when we like shots a lot, we dwell on them and marinate and consume them.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Jim
definitely do.
Peters. Yeah. Jim Peters says, Audrey Jumping. She is a musician and an artist. And a model, it looks like, too. What do you think?
Yeah. Very, very cool shot. I love the timing of this. This is really wonderful. Right away, the thing that challenges me is that her left hand looks very unnatural. And anytime you do an action shot or a jumping shot or something like that, you really have to sort of like coach your model into like, okay, we're gonna jump, but let's get all the hands relaxed and stuff because people tend to
Mm-hmm.
tense up. So that can really be a thing, and that's really hard to do unless you're really good at doing that.
Yeah.
Well, plus her leaving the frame at the top, which I really wish wasn't happening. I really wish that
Mm.
that she was well within the frame, and that's just us as the photographer having to pull back a little bit. Um, and then, the lighting is a little bit on the harsh side, which you could probably get rid of some of those highlights, like on her forehead and on the boot, and then soften that just a bit. Soften that light. I wish the light was a little bit softer, especially for her. I think that would look really good. But overall, I mean, the expression, the timing, her hair being poofed,
Hmm.
having that dynamism, whatever.
Yeah, that was it. You had it right.
Yeah, yeah. It looks wonderful. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, everything you said, I agree with it. My little nits on this shot, I agree with the hand 100%. Because I looked at the hand, I'm like, oh, that's AI, but it's not. it's actually, it's actually a real hand. But it's the shadows I think that we're getting hung up on. The shadows in the hand that are throwing our brains off and giving us a distracting element to kind of scrutinize when it's not supposed to be distracting. And the pose, of course, right? Because you were saying, yeah, you need to choreograph kind of where the hands are gonna land at that decisive moment when you're gonna click the shutter. Hands are people look at hands, or especially these days, and artists are looking at hands as telltale signs of some kind of the artificial thing afoot. But so the hand that was standing. The other thing is this area here for me, the earring. I think that's the earring. Whatever's happening up here is distracting. So
Hmm.
I would either fix it or remove it so that this little bit isn't taking a tiny little sliver of my attention away from the overall goodness of the shot. And then there's lighting, like you were talking about lighting. Aside from the harshness of these shadows, I think the fact that she's on a black or dark background, it may be white depending on how you expose it, but jumping, and she's got dark colored clothing on, and she's got darker hair. I think this looks like a one light shot. I think you would have benefited from some fill in here just to add some
Hmm.
separation on this side. And I mean, with this like beautiful red hair, maybe even a hair light up here, or at least some reflected light from your fill or your key light, just to separate her hair more from the background. And
Yeah.
like you were saying, bring down the contrast a little so we don't get the hot spots here. As they're not horrible, but you want to mitigate those as much as you can, if you can. I think by changing your exposure or your lighting configuration would have definitely fixed that, as well as it would have reduced. Well, you'd want to choreograph it so the hand wasn't doing this claw thing, but even if it was doing the claw thing and you had that fill, these shadows would have been less obvious like that. I don't know.
Right. No, no, I
Hmm.
absolutely agree. I mean, the lighting is so critical, and this is something to me where, I think this is a three light setup ideally, but I think what we're
Hmm.
looking at is one light, maybe like a
Yeah.
large softbox,
Yeah.
and it creates shadows where we don't want shadows, like in the palm of her hand and on the backside of her face, and then this is really, I mean, technically it could be short light if she was looking away, but it's broad light, so it makes her face really wide. And I start to get into that PPA judging thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, where her
Yeah.
eye, her left eye is buried behind her nose, and it looks tiny, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I just
soft.
noticed she's looking at the camera. She's making eye contact with the camera, but her eyes are so small relatively to the photo, the size of the photo, and all the other stuff that's going on. Like we're getting distracted by that hand and her blending into the background and the hair and that earring thing. I wasn't looking at her face, which is normally what you want to look at first, is the expression on the face.
Right. Right. And, La Deuterina made a really good comment. Being a musician, maybe if she was holding a tambourine or a mic or
Hmm.
something in that left hand, would have completely changed the feeling of this image, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yep. I agree. Do you think on a shot like this, we don't have the raw file, of course, we don't to kind of examine, but if there's a detail in there for her whole body, would you? And you were working on this for a client. Would you take the shot and pop her out of there and just replace the background and kind of do some artificial post production lighting on her?
well, yeah. I mean, I would do a lot with this if I had the raw file. I mean, first of all, like, you could bring the highlights down and the shadows up, and you could add some declarity, right? And then that would soften the lighting, and that would give you a sense of a secondary light. And then selecting the background, you could add a tone to it. Like, you could add a slight blue or cyan or magenta. Probably like a magenta tone would be an amazing offset for her,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be
Mm-hmm.
subtle, but it would be so powerful.
Hmm.
Yep,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely album or CD cover or whatever. This shot, this extending like the right side of the frame out to make this a square, and then that's where your text and all that stuff goes or whatever. And like
Yep.
Laduda Rita was saying in the chat, if she's actually holding some sort of prop that speaks to her music art form, that would sell
Right.
the whole thing. Yep.
Right.
Very
Exactly.
cool. Good job, Audrey. Jumping by I lost my mouse pointer for a second. By Jim Peters. All right. Coming up next is Rick Kilboy. Rick says, "My take on sunflowers, still life, Lego style. Can't go wrong with Lego. Can't go wrong with Lego."
Nice. Nice. This is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really well lit too. I gotta say, I really love the lighting on this. I think that aside from the fact that they're Legos, which I think is just super cool, you did a great job, photographing these. Couple suggestions on the lighting. First of all, probably burn down the vase at the bottom because you want to have it darker around the edges to follow that vignette that you have there. And then the hot spot that you have behind the vase should be up behind the flowers because that's really our subject and that's really kind of where you want to draw our attention to. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the image, your eyes bounce between the flowers and then that hot spot at the bottom, like what's there? Oh, the flowers, and then there's that hot spot, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the hot spot is really meant to be up there, and it should be slightly off of where the highlight's coming from. So it should be on the shadow side of your subject.
Oh, to kind of replicate where it would actually be if it were in the real, right?
Uh, Not really, but like as like a portrait artist, what you would do is that, whatever side your main light is on, the
Mm-hmm.
spotlight you put on the background is always slightly off to the shadow side of your subject, and it gives it a sense of depth, right? And then it gives a separation between your shadow and the background is by putting that highlight there. So
Yeah.
it's just one technique. It's not a definitive technique.
No, sure, sure, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you on everything, especially the hot spot behind the flowers and adjusting the vignette so that it's also vignetting the vase as well. Um, a lot of space up top here, so I might lose some of that. And if possible, show the base of the vase, down here, so we're not cutting the vase off because we have all
Right.
these pixels that aren't being used, and we need some over on this this side. So, adjust accordingly. But I do dig the concept a lot. The sunflowers. I think I saw this kit. I was gonna buy this kit in Target for Cameron, but she's into these. You know what she would say if I bought her this kit? She would say, "Oh, it's only 1,000 pieces. I'll be done before dinner." So, but yeah, she likes the big challenging
Take
city
the
style.
instructions away.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. No, I'm trying to get her to just make original creations. She has so many Legos now. Like, just
Mm,
make something, build something new. But yeah, I like this. I actually want one of these, to be honest with you, put in here. That'd be kind of cool. This one, I
that
know
would
they
be
have
cool.
another one. They have another one too, so get this set. What a great Christmas gift for Frederick. All right, Rick Kilboy. Thank you, sir. Eric Pronsky. Dr. Pronsky is up next. Eric says, recent image taken in Madrid. The roof of a car provided a nice symmetrical reflection of the windows of the building. A couple walked through. I made a split second decision to take them in the middle. Please comment on the placement of the couple. Should I have taken this a split second sooner to get them more to the right of the image? I was looking for everything to be symmetrical. Oh, interesting. Well, he got the symmetry on the background. I'm curious. What do you think? Should he have waited or what?
Um, Sorry, I was reading Jim Peters' comment in the chat.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, it was a one light setup. He was trying to replace the background with black. Okay, all right, yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, I told Jim that I would help him with some of those images. So, all right,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I was I wanted to make sure if there was a question there, we didn't slide past Jim, but so to Eric's image, I love the symmetry, and I think that you did a wonderful, wonderful job picking the timing. I think if you had waited any longer, you know, she, which is to his left, might have moved forward, or if you had taken it too soon, she might have been. I think it's great they're stacked, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
everything is stacked, everything is center. I love that so much. What I am struggling with is kind of the crop, and maybe it's the brightness of the building is too bright. I feel like I, I feel like I want to reduce the building by like half and
Mm.
make it more panoramic, because I don't think we need all that vertical window and wall, and I feel it's too bright. It's really overpowering. I'd like to bring it down a little bit. Maybe a linear gradient or something would be enough.
So a linear
But
gradient dropping from the top to the bottom.
yeah, instead of cropping, maybe just bringing the tonality of the building down a little bit so it's not so harsh. I
Yeah.
this is really a wonderful image, and I want to play with it. I want to edit
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, because with a shot like this, you could do exactly what you're saying. Put a linear gradient in there, and with the new object and subject selection tools in Capture One and Lightroom, you could make that gradient slightly go behind your subject, so that you're not darkening already dark subjects. So
Right.
you can give yourself control over that. I get confused on this shot with the bottom part here. So I know it's a reflection on a car roof or something like that, but it's a little distracting, and I feel like we gave it a lot of real estate down here for something that is hard to understand what it is when kind of our main subjects are these people and the background. I'm guessing. So maybe crop a little bit to lose some of that. We've got a good one whole, maybe more third of the frame here that is just that thing. So maybe
Hmm.
lose some of that, maybe about right there, just enough so that you know that it's a reflection of these windows right there and that wall. But all
Yeah.
this down here, I think, is unnecessary. And to your point, we've got a lot of space up top here, but there's some decisions to be made here because you don't even necessarily need to show. I know you were going for symmetry with the windows on either side, but you could maybe consider doing a crop where you're not showing the whole window on either side. Still keep it symmetrical, but
Hmm.
we already know it's a window. We can tell it's a window by just a little bit of it. So, cropping down maybe here, like right
We don't
here.
see your pointer. Oh yeah, there
There it
it is.
goes.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe cropping down here and then over this way a little bit and then the
Yeah.
same on this side. So now you got background element, light, or window, and then this foreground element with our subjects in the middle. And now our subjects appear like they're, what the artist did was completely intentional. And with that kind of
Yeah.
crop, I think you could have let these people be off center because then you're in complete symmetry with one pattern interrupt in the shot, and that's our main
Right.
subjects. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear what Paolo has to think about this image. I mean, being the street photographer that he is, I mean, he may have
Mm-hmm.
some thoughts on this as well. And I say this too, and I mean this as a compliment to Eric. When this image first came up in the stream, and I was just looking, I thought this was another image of Paolo's because
Mm-hmm.
of the dark shadows and the symmetry and the lighting. I was like, Paolo, you can't enter two images.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm very excited for you, Eric, that you captured this, but also that as you were there, you saw it and you saw in your mind's eye what you wanted and you reacted and you captured the image. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's a kudos for that. Like it's a well done image, but as you can hear, Frederick and I, we can't quite decide on how we want to crop it, but we know we want to play with it some more. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a winner in my book. So
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. What a fun shot. Very cool, sir. All right. Next up is our friend Mr. Craig Stampley. He titles this one simply "Water Drops." Mm.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah, it's really, really nice. I love the color grading that he did on this. At first, I looked at it full screen, and then I brought it back down to a sort of like a smaller image within the stream so that I can see the whole overall image and the color palette. And I think that you've got like the skin tone, the bricks, and then the cyan of the water. That's really super cool.
Yeah.
Um, I I wish, and I don't know if this was a super candid pose or if he had an opportunity to pose her, but the shadow across her lower back, I would have tried to manipulate that shadow a little bit by posing her body so that it didn't have that one diversion of the shadow line. Um,
Oh, this little like raised
yeah,
area here. Yeah.
that's really the only thing that I look at and go like, man, I wish that was. But that being said, what a wonderful image. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a little bit intimate. It's quiet. It's cozy. It looks like a summer day in the pool kind of thing. So I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is a Stampley image for sure, right? It has the simplicity, it's got the symmetry, all the things, the I don't know. It's the I don't want to say nudity because it's not really nude, but it's the suggestive kind of nature of this shot actually adds to it as well. It's suggestive and simple at the same time. Like showing these kinds of shots are my favorite kinds of shots in this genre because they're not showing you know they're leaving a ton to the imagination, right? And they're
Right.
still doing justice to the model. It skews heavily all the way to art versus being on an easel in a court of law with a jury trying to figure out if this is actually explicit or not, right?
Right.
It is very clear what this artist was trying to do with this shot and why. Oh, I love it. I like that. Yeah, and using who knows what was around this model, right? In the background, and maybe people frolicking in the pool, and all that stuff. And our photographer Craig went in and found a serene spot and did the shot. Or if
Hmm.
this isn't his pool, this may be his pool. I know he has a pool at home too. So yeah, but it's yeah, I like it a lot. I like the water beads on the body as well, so it adds a little bit of surface texture, so that we know that she's actually been in that body of water. And so really, really well done.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah. It's got a good
And that
mood. It's
shadow
got a
doesn't
good
bother me,
feel.
by the way. This little butt shadow thing that doesn't really bother me because I think because it adds some relief and definition, so we kind of know what's going on with where the light was and how her body is put together. The shadow is
Mhm.
giving us information down there, So I don't mind it. I see what you're saying. You could make it less obvious, but either way, I don't think it takes away from the image much.
Right. No, I agree. No, it's just that was my nitpickery.
Yeah, yeah. Very nice. Thank you, Mr. Stamfler. All right, coming up to the end here. Next one is Phil Lewenthal. He says Unbroken. Look at that. Look at that. Every time I see Phil's shots, I feel like I need to like have the soundtrack from I don't know the Ten Commandments or something playing in the background. There's so there's so much grandeur in his shots. It's awesome. What do you think of this one?
I see you got me on.
Oh yeah,
I'm
of course.
cropping. I'm cropping. Yeah, cropping.
The Troy crop.
Every image deserves a crop. Like, even after you've cropped it, it probably could use more crop. Like, it's one of those kind of things that I think that is so powerful in an image, is that you can crop and push in and really work with it. And when I used to do a lot of work in the darkroom, that was one of the things I spent infinite amount of time was cropping.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I love this. I think that it's super wonderful because it really, to me, it sort of feels like we have the sea palms on the left that are kind of facing the guy out there on the rock, like they're watching them, right? And so I feel like there's two heroes there. I do think that the background is too much, though. I think that it's just all that white in the background is just too much. I really
Mm.
just want to push in, not too tight, leave a little bit of all the rocks, but like a horizontal, get rid of some of that highlight in the top that I just don't see how it adds to the image.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I like what you said about these sea palms over here being the audience for this one who's taking a bow or something after a performance. I like that, and I do agree that there's a lot of going on, a lot of water and activity going on up here, which is taken away from what's going on down below. So yeah, so
Hmm.
that's it. I'd probably crop a lot of that off, maybe even like to around right here, right?
Yeah.
And maybe get rid of like these guys on the side here. That's a different photo completely. But if you crop this way, like this, make these more subordinate and make it more about our hero in the middle, and then with these supporting characters on the left here, a tighter crop, like you say, I think would have accomplished that. But I see what he's
Right.
going for because Phil is known for the long exposures of the ocean, and that's what's going on here. It kind of makes you scratch your head of, was that wave like 900 feet tall or what's happening? But it does that, but at the same time, it takes away from our main actor and the supporting characters over here because we're drawn into whatever physics is making this happen at the top of the
Hmm.
frame.
Right. And then the other thing that I would add to this is, like, anytime that you have layers of elements, right, is that ideally we want to create a sense of depth through the image. And sometimes we do that by depth of field, which you don't have here, but then we can do it with tonality. So
Mm-hmm.
create some layers of tone. So, like, the rocks in the far left or in the right lower left corner, maybe make them darker. And then the rock in
Mm-hmm.
the right hand corner, not as dark. And then the center rock, and then maybe the rock on the far right, you pick a tone somewhere in between, so that it creates a layer of tone as we move through the image without dramatically changing the sharpness or the overall contrast, right? You just want to
Mm-hmm.
lead us through with the shadows.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool shot though. What do you think of the processing and the kind of the tonal range that he chose to play in?
I know this is Phil's look, so I have absolute respect for his choice of tone, and I know that we've commented a lot, and he's commented about how he's always being told he needs more contrast and more contrast. Um, I'm a huge contrast fan,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I really want to find some pure black and
Mm-hmm.
some pure white in the image, and then try to build the tonal range in there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, right? I don't
Yeah.
dislike this. It's soft and it's subtle, but it feels a slightly muted to me. I just wish there was a black point in here,
Mm-hmm.
right? To kind of
Right.
to kind of create the whole zone
To
curve
anchor
for
you.
me.
Yeah, it feels like yeah, a lot, not all, but a lot of shots need that anchor point so your brain can kind of figure out the rest. If you know what true black is and true white is, you can kind
Hmm.
of work out what's going on in the shot. If there's no black, then you're kind of skewed off a little bit. And sometimes, a lot of times that's fine. It works. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, I like this. This is really cool. I keep telling Phil. Phil needs a gallery show somewhere. So any gallery owners out there, contact Phil and commission a show for that guy because his stuff is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yep. All right. Next up is Michael Rhino. Michael Rhino says a photo from Great Sand Dunes National Park, Colorado. Probably in
Hmm.
his backyard. Look at this.
It's not far. It's like 2 hours.
Ugh.
I've been there. It's neat. It's neat.
This looks like I was gonna say it looks like Mars. I've never been to Mars, but it looks otherworldly for sure.
So
Almost
what?
almost like the Disney Museum in Los Angeles, right? Or that Disney is it the what is it called? Let me know in the chat what that building is called that I'm thinking of. It's like that stainless steel abstract building in LA.
Yeah. Um, hmm. I love this a lot. I'm playing with the crop a little bit. So, having spent a lot of time in the sand dunes, photographing and riding dirt bikes and things like that in various places, it's very unusual to see sand with ripples and then sand without ripples in the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
because usually they all have the same texture to them. So I really love the fact that we have these ripples in the foreground that transition to seemingly very smooth dunes in the background, and I really like that a lot. And it has almost a human form. Yeah, yeah. Ladoon Arena just popped that in the chat at the same time. It does have a very human-esque form and texture. I do think that the foreground is hot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
from the slightly center right to the rest of the foreground, I feel like it's too hot, and I feel like that needs to be brought down so the highlight tone is the same as the rest of the image. And I would probably get rid of half of the foreground.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
be,
it's
because
dominating.
for
Yeah,
me, the hero is the upper half of the image, not the lower half.
yeah, yep.
So
I agree.
if you'd
Yeah,
run out there and put like a stick in the ground or like a turtle was standing there, well, then you would have a better foreground. But
or one of those Death Valley crawling rocks have that making its way across the scene halfway there. You've seen
yeah,
those,
or
right?
Steiger. Why wasn't Steiger laying out there on the dunes? Like that would have been amazing. His beautiful
Yeah.
German Shepherd. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, his dog. Oh, yeah, yeah. So look at this shot. Let me see if I can get this into the stream here. This is the building I was talking about right here. This Disney.
Oh,
This is the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Can you see that?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one. So doesn't that remind you of that? Look at that. That and that. It's very, very similar to me.
Yeah, there's some
Love it.
cool aspects to that. Yeah. It's
Yep.
the highlight and the shadows, right? It's the transition from highlights to shadow. I mean, this could be something that you made in your kitchen out of flour. We don't know scale, but it's the highlights and the shadows that's so wonderful, and the transitions in between. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good. All right, Mr. Rhino, and let's do a reload. Make sure we got everyone. That was good. So we were right at 60 minutes. Look at that. We did it.
oh, cool.
See, I think we got them all. Make sure we didn't miss any.
No, that's it.
And that's it. All right. What do you think? You have a favorite?
The, man, it's so tough. It's so tough. It's so tough. You know, in the for the open category, I'm leaning towards Craig's image
Yep, I knew it.
because it just has such a good vibe with the summery feel and the swimming pool, and maybe because it's cold here and my pool is all dirty and you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that one and Eric Pronsky's is probably two favorites. And the reason that I sort of lean towards Eric's as well is because I love the fact that this was something that you know he saw at the last minute and captured that. So
Yeah.
it's like Ansel Adams' Moonrise over Hernandez. Like that was a last minute thing. So shot kind of over the top of a car.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. It absolutely was. Yeah, I think you hit it right on. I do like this shot as well, from Eric, but I think this one, I think we're in agreement that I like. There's a bunch of great ones. Like Phil's great. There a bunch of them are great, but if you pick one, I think I like this one because of the simplicity and the graphical elements and just all the things that we said before are awesome.
So for some reason, my audio coming from you is going wonky. So if I'm not responding to you, then I'm not ignoring you.
Oh, interesting. Was it
Oh, now it's
doing?
fixed. Now it's fixed. It's
Don't
something
even
on
get
my
me
end, not
started.
your end. It's my end. I don't know what it is.
Ugh.
Sorry. So I didn't want to sound like I was ignoring you. So
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm used to it. It's all good. All right. All right. Do you have a pick for
I do.
Critique 231? The first one of 2024, my friend. You get to pick it.
Yes. Yes, and I'm not going to waver from my decision because I know that, for many of us over the New Year's, there'll be fireworks and party photos, and those are going to be happening anyway. But I thought, like, for an image critique shot, something that would lead us into something that maybe a little creative, I thought water as our primary subject. Water is everywhere. Lots of the images that we've been seeing lately have a water theme to them, but water as our subject, and that's our topic, I think.
Which is, I'm glad you put that on there. So water is the subject for this next one, and it needs to be the subject, not a supporting element.
Hero.
Like in this, yeah, the hero. This shot has water in it, but it is not the subject. As she has water on her, still not the subject. Water has to be the subject of the shot.
Yeah.
Right. In any of its forms, or does it have like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need too many rules. Not too many rules. Yeah.
All right. Because people say, well, humans are 70% water. I'm just going to do a portrait and say it's
Only
water.
you would think that. Only you would do that.
Sure, no, there are more of me. There are a lot of me out there, man. I'm telling you.
You're not wrong. I know.
Yeah,
Peter's going to send in a picture of the desert and say absence of water, and it's,
there you go. I was thinking in its forms, like steam, ice, running water, So it's still water, but it has to be solidified running water, or can it be steam or ice?
But here's the thing. Make it a shot of water that'll impress us to pick your image.
There you go.
If you want to be clever, we might
decision.
not get it, right? Like, it's, you've got to... We're easy to please, though.
Yeah, we are. All right, well, good. That was good. Thanks for doing that, man. That's going to be a good topic. I want to see what people come up with. Ladunarina in the chat says a jar of dehydrated water. Yes. Yeah, we'll go with that. A jar of dehydrated water. Yeah, this should be interesting because, I'm going to guess that most people in the community have access to water, so no excuses. And you don't have to engage with somebody else or, leave the house if you don't want to. This should be, shouldn't be too difficult to get a nice shot of some water. Even macro, water dripping or something. Yeah, interesting.
No, Phil, a smoke machine does not count because it's not water.
Oh, Phil.
It could be an ice machine, but a fog machine.
There you go. Ice machine. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Oh, you know what? Before we leave, I want to bring up Jim's image one more time. It was this one, right? So Jim, let me bring this up. So Jim in the chat said, where is it? Where is this comment? Yeah, here we go. So Jim says, this was a one light setup. He tried to replace the background, but the black pants were an edge issue and needed more time. He's going to rework it. Yeah. So yeah, cool shot. It's just like, she's getting lost over here on the left side of the frame. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Call me Jim. I'll help you.
All right, cool. All right, water is our next one. First Creek of 2024. Photo critique number 231. We'll see you guys there. That's going to be around the 1st of January. Troy and I need to huddle and figure out what day it's going to be. I'm guessing maybe the 2nd or 3rd or something. But we will let you know, folks in the community. Of course, on YouTube, the event will post. So you'll see the date there. It'll be in the photo critiques area within the community, and you'll get an email with all that stuff in it. So cool. All right, man. Any, you know what, Troy? Let me put you on stage, front and center.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Final thoughts of encouragement as we exit 2023 and enter the year 2024.
Yes. Don't be a dick.
Thank you. Yes, the universal D-bad advice. Yes.
Well, this is on my desk. I know you can't read it, right? I mean, it's really hard to read. I'll actually see if we can make an effort to even focus on it.
It says D-bad on it. Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
So So this sits on my desk right below my Stream Deck, and I look at it every day, all day long. And
Ignore it.
I I, I try not to, right? Like it's as much for me as it is for you.
It's goals, man. Goals.
Goals, yeah,
One
goals.
day one day this card will be true. It will be. No,
Everybody
I'm
needs
kidding.
their Everest, right? Everybody needs that. That's my
Yeah,
Everest.
that's true. That is so true. Yeah, that is words for 2024. Maybe that should be one of our critique topics. D bad. That's it. Only those in the know will know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you could change. You could make the last D dumbass. Or something like that.
yeah. It could be a lot of
You know.
things, but
Yes.
yeah. I mean, those that know, they
It's
know. Now
those
everybody
that
knows.
know. Now everyone knows. D bad. I challenge you. Use D bad in a sentence today. See how it goes. People that are watching and listening, either live or in the replay, use the acronym DBAD in a sentence. As you're
Yeah.
speaking to somebody, and then explain it to them. All right, we'll end this right now. I'm gonna go lay down because I'm feeling crazy. I need some rest. See if I can't shake whatever this thing is that's trying to take me down. All right, Troy. You have a good rest of your day, my friend, and we will see
You too.
you. Well, I mean, we'll talk before then, but we will see you here in this venue in 2024. All right,
Yes. Yes.
cool.
You got it.
Peace. Happy New Year, everybody. Very good, sir. That's what that's for. Okay, I get it. Finally, it's the one time a year you can use it. All right, man. You take care. I'll see you soon.
All right. All right. Good night, everyone.
Okay, we are ending said.